Hi, everyone, and welcome to Storytellers and Changemakers podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest. Her name is Tara. Tara, say hi.
Hello.
It's so nice to talk to you, Tara. So I met Tara not long ago. She came for one of our workshops, and I became interested in what her charity is about. And I really would like to share, what she does, and also kind of get into the mind of somebody who decides to start a charity, even though she's a school teacher. Tara, can you tell us your story?
So the charity is called The Widow's Walk. It was birthed out of my becoming a widow and walking the journey and walking through the fog and coming out on the other side and seeing that, okay, life continues, and I had a lot of support. And I felt I had then seen other widows and noticed that they didn't have the same kind of support that I had. And I felt every widow deserves a champion. And so the Widow's Walk was birthed because of that.
That's a lovely thing to say. You believe that widows need a champion, somebody who is like on your side. Can you tell us a bit more about what you mean by that when you say
Okay, so
champion?
I say that because when someone is bereft and they lose their partner, everybody's around them and to commiserate with them but after a few weeks that all finishes and everybody goes back to their normal lives and the widow is left by themselves to grieve alone. It's a new kind of grief when everybody has gone away and you have to do it by yourself. And things in your life have changed drastically. There used to be two of you before, it's now just one. If you have children, it's even an added pressure. So TWW was birthed to rebuild, to restore a widow to hope, to bring back peace, and to build joy. Those are my three main tenets, that every widow should come to a place where they can start again and be restored, have hope for the future, and be at peace. And if you have hope for the future and you're at peace, then joy would automatically follow.
It's so interesting. People don't really know how powerful hope can be, especially unless they are in a situation where they don't have hope. This just by the way, that's why maybe like if somebody is in prison and they feel that there's no hope for them, they are on death row or something, they don't want you to even give them any hope because it's a very painful thing if it's taken away. So can you say some more about that?
So I can tell you my story. So it was the fall of 2003. I was about 4.5 months pregnant. At the time, I wasn't driving. I had a 4-year-old son. And my husband used to work, he worked for GMTV, but in the night. He was a tech guy, computer guy. So he would go to work and come back home early in the morning while I'm getting ready for work. And then he would drive me to work and then come back and rest. So on this fateful morning, waited and waited and waited for him. Didn't come back. So
you were a young couple?
Yes. I was married for 6 years.
6 years.
6 years,
okay.
yep.
Okay.
He didn't come back. I kept on phoning him. His phone was going to voicemail. So in the end, I took a bus. I took my 4-year-old, he was just starting reception. I left him at school and then I went into my office. And after that, for the next 3-4 hours, I was calling him on the hour, every hour, and the phone kept on going to voicemail. And I said to my colleague, I said, something bad must have happened because he would never not call me, Anyway, this lasted the whole day until at the end of the day, at around between 4 and 5, I left the office and I was going home. And on my way home, I was walking towards the train station when my phone rang. Of course, I grabbed it quickly, hoping it was him, but it wasn't him. It was the Metropolitan Transport Police. And they said they wanted to discuss with me details of my husband's car. So I said to them, I'm not interested in his car. I just want to discuss him. Where is he? And the person on the phone said to me, he doesn't have much details. He just knows that he will send a car to come and pick me up and then we can discuss it. The car arrived in like 2 minutes, police car. There was a lady police and a man police. And of course, they saw me in the distance. I was heavily pregnant. And I can remember the lady came towards me and then she went back to the car. I suppose she went to tell the other one that, Anyway, they came to me and said I should come into the car. And I said, I'm not going with them until they tell me where my husband is. And so there and then on the street, they told me that he had died in a car crash, that the That was all the details they had. They were just local police. They were not really involved in it. They were just asked to come and pick me up.
Pick you.
Yeah. So I have my 4-year-old by my side, my son, and, in a split second, life has changed now. Life has suddenly drastically changed.
It's like darkness
So
and
okay,
just black and white. It's like,
yes.
1 minute it stays and then the next minute is not.
So it's like, I had to ask her again, are you saying my husband is dead? She said, unfortunately, sir. So I said, okay. Then I went with them in the car and they drove me home. So on the way home, I phoned my very close friend of mine. I told her what they had said to me, and I told her to meet me at home. So by the time I got home, she was there. At that time, at that point, when all this madness was going on, I felt I had no reason to live anymore. I wanted to die myself, And this is where, when you talk about hope, because I couldn't see beyond being happily married 1 minute, expecting child 2. I had been through a whole load of pregnancy sickness. I'd been admitted in hospital. I was just coming out of all that early pregnancy sickness matter. I was now beginning to feel almost normal when this happened. And it was like, oh, so everything is just cut short now. Everything is cut off. What was my life? What's the next step? What's my life going to be from here on? And I thank God that I had the kids. I had my 4-year-old and I had this child coming. And for the next few years, they were the reason I woke up in the morning. They were the reason I kept going. I had to. For them, I had to. And I was determined.
I had a conversation with my friend today, and I was saying something about it makes such a difference when you have something to look forward to.
Yes.
Even as simple as saying, on Friday, I'm going to go to the cinema, and it does something to you where you have something to look forward.
When you have a focus, when you have a goal.
Something to look forward to. Yeah. Next year I'm going to do this. Or again, the same word comes up again, that hope. But it must have been really, really terrible. It must have been terrible. You've mentioned your children. What other things can you say, tangible things that made a difference to you, especially in those early
days? There were 2 very significant factors. My family, he rallied around me like never before. My mother came from Nigeria. My parents, till they died, were very, very close. They were married over 40 years. Hardly did one go somewhere without the other. But my mom left my dad in Nigeria and she came here and she stayed with me till the child was born. So she literally stayed for 6 months. Then she went back to Nigeria and then they both came back. My sister, I'm the first of 4, so my sister is the 4th. She's the last one. I'm the first. I've got 2 brothers in between. I feel as if she put her life on hold for a whole year for me. Every Saturday morning, I live in North London. She lived in the South. She'll be in my house and she'll stay with me the whole weekend till Sunday night when she goes back. My church is the second thing. I was a member of a big church and they all rallied around me. We were both active members in my church. So not for 1 minute did they leave me alone. There were so many things. Members of my church, they set up standing orders, into my account. There must have been 40 to 50 people putting £10, £20 into my account. So that first year, when my income became no longer 2 people's income, it was just 1. They covered my back. And every time I had a need, every time I had an anxiety about something, God would send someone my way, either with a word or with money or with advice. And when all this was going on, I didn't really notice. Of course, I had nothing to compare it to. I didn't know any other widows.
Yeah.
But as the years rolled by, I began to realize that not everybody's story was like mine. Came across some widows that were bitter because maybe the people that they expected to be there for them were not, family members, in-laws, probably didn't play the role they expected them to play. And then they got stuck in a place that is
that
not good.
Loop
Yeah.
of bitterness.
Yeah. So this is why restoring hope was really, really important to me.
Is that the name of your book?
The name of my book is Joy Comes in the Morning.
Joy Comes in the Morning.
Yeah.
Tell me, writing a book is hard work. Tell me how that book came about. Is it that you chipped at it little by little, or was it like a one-day download? Or
you won't believe how I wrote that book. I was listening to a program on BBC Radio. Yeah, at work no less. They used to have this Friday program where people tell stories. So one person will give one line, and then somebody else will come in and give another line, and then somebody else will give another line. Yeah, and then they will string it all together and form a story. So I was doing my work on my computer and I had the radio on in the background and the program came up. And I was thinking, I'd always known I'll tell my story one day. But at that moment, I gave one line and forgot all about it. And then maybe like 2 hours afterwards, I heard them read the whole story out and my line was in the story. So I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I really can write. And because my book is basically an autobiography, I didn't have to do much research. Everything that was in the book was in my head. So in no time, I wrote that book in 6 weeks.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I wrote the book in 6 weeks. It was editing and getting a publisher and everything. But even then, I think I started writing the book in February and it was published in September.
Oh, wow. That is
It was a quick work. And when I tried to write
fast.
book number 2, I realized that, writing is not that easy.
Okay, so I had a question in my mind before the call. I just said to myself, this woman that formed this charity, the Widow's Walk, did she form it because she's that kind of responsible person that just feels there's a work that needs to be done, I'm going to do it? Or did you start it because you've had a call or something was pulling you, or did it just happen organically?
So I'd say probably organically, because I'm not naturally anyone to put my head up above the sand. I'm very, very comfortable in the background. But I felt a call to share my story, to help somebody else. I felt like I felt like a widow doesn't have a space. In church, they would talk about the couples. We'll have couple nights. We have even when they do singles.
That's true.
Really, the singles is for the young adults that are looking for a spouse. Then when it's Valentine, we'll do couples nights. Then we'll have children's church. We will have youth this, but never is there something for the widower, the widow, or even the single parents. And I feel that whatever it is that the couples are going through, the single parents want, they are doing it by themselves. More than ever, they need support. And this is why a lot of times a widow will feel lonely in a crowd, because it's almost like all the people around them, your story is very different from mine.
Yeah, especially a young widow.
Yes.
Especially a young widow. I mean,
With
my
young
mom,
children.
I lost my dad last year, and I went to see my mom in February of this year, and it's just, it's a different life. It's a different life, a different
She's lived with him for how many years? They've done everything together for all those
they
years.
were married for 50, I don't know what's 50 or 51 years. Yeah. So, I mean, she's quite a cerebral person, so she's like, it has to happen. This kind of things happen and all that. But honestly, it's a different, or should I
It's
say,
like
a
a part
unique
of you dropped off.
situation. Yes, it's a very unique situation. Like, let me just tell. Let me expose. Let me tell my mother's secrets. So my dad has or had Land Rover LR something, one of those big, nice, cars. Which I said, yeah. So the car was giving trouble, and at the point, the car was too expensive to maintain. So my brother said, "Let's just sell the car." And my mom says, "No, let it be there." But it was just a weird thing, And even my sister was like, "Please, she wants the car." The broken down car to just be sitting there.
It's her husband's car.
It's her husband's car. Even like his phone, for my dad liked gadgets. Even his phones, which are probably better than all of us phones. She's like, no, just let it be there. Nobody should take it. So
I understand.
So it's a really it's different. So, but so you said it happened organically with the Widow's Walk. So did you started from your own pockets? That's what you mean?
So I started shortly after COVID. And I did it because in my church, there were a few women that lost their husbands during that time.
Ah, yes, that's true.
So the funerals happened and all that. And I watched from a distance. They were not people I was close to, but I could empathize. I could feel their pain. Like, they're going to walk
Tara,
this journey.
And I'm just thinking about it like, this is something that we don't know anything about.
Yes,
this situation, we actually don't know what to do. Like, we're equipped for many things, that loss of, or
I remember during that, when I first lost my husband, There were some people that couldn't talk to me. They were bereft, but they didn't know
what to
how
say.
to comfort me, what to say to me. You know, it's a very strange.
Yeah, I can imagine
It's
maybe
a
someone
strange
come and say,
dynamic.
"Oh, don't worry, you meet someone else and you
Yeah.
fall in love again," or something stupid like that. So I probably say to myself, "Let me just keep quiet, or let me not come and go and say something that is going to,
Oh my gosh.
yeah." Okay, so you started in
Yeah,
that
so I
from the
started
COVID time.
just after COVID. I had three widows in my church, and I thought, okay, what can I do to reach them? I'm quite good with the written word. I can, if I write you an email or if I write you a letter, I can pour my heart into it. So this is how I started, sending them a WhatsApp. After everything had died and after all the visitors have gone and they're on their own now, and express to them that I know what you're going through. I'm really sorry for your loss. I promise you, you'll be okay. If you just hold on to God, you'll be okay, And almost immediately, I got feedback from them. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words. This was very encouraging. This, that, and the other. So that was that. Then come Christmas, I thought, okay, I need to let them know that I'm still thinking about them, that God has not forgotten them, So at Christmas, I bought 3 bags of rice. I gave them 1 each. Oh, thank you so much. I know it's a small gift and you probably have lots of rice in your house, but rice is not going to go bad. So you can't have too much of it. And I'm giving it to you just so that you know that I'm thinking about you. And I believe that the continually doing that, you did it 1 year, the lady probably thinks, okay, it was a one-off and maybe next year. But they probably haven't even thought that far. But like this year, when I sent out these bags of rice, the feedback that I got this year, more than any other year, has been phenomenal. Somebody said, again, auntie, again. I'm like, it's not more than a bag of rice. And really, like I always tell people, it's not about, I do hope to help people financially, but this bag of rice is not about finances. It's about remembering someone, letting them know someone cares. You're not on your own. Giving someone hope. One person that I gave rice to this year, she phoned me and said to me, she had nothing left. She was going to Tesco to buy a small bag of rice for £1.50 when the knock on the door came and it was DPD. When they told her it was DPD through the door, she said I didn't order anything. So she wasn't expecting anybody to come and deliver anything. When she opened the door and she saw the box, I had the Widow's Walk logo, the sticker on it. That's when she knew where it came from. And when she opened it and she saw what it was, I mean, she was in tears. And this makes me know that, okay, God, you did send me, isn't it? You said I should do this and I'm doing it. And I aim to do for as many people as comes my way.
So it's because you can't say it's feeding the hungry.
No, it's not really feeding hungry.
No,
it's
so
feeling
it's
the spirit, man. It's feeling emotions. It's rebuilding. It's restoring. It's helping people get to where they need to be, to come back to life. Because sometimes when this thing happens, it's like, it feels like the end of the road. I know somebody that even after almost a year, she's still in hiding. She still hasn't gone back to work. All I can say
I
is,
remember when my mom, when we lost our dad, everybody wanted to do something for my mom. She was like, as soon as the funeral is over, we're going to whisk her off to Denmark to stay with my aunt, and she'll stay there for as long as she likes and all that. Honestly, by the time the thing finished, now we're like, oh yeah, mommy, where's your passport? She's like, she ain't going nowhere. She's not going anywhere.
The thing is,
she said,
even if she
let me
did
just
go,
try and first of all get used to
my new life.
Let me get used to being a widow, And the thing is, it's been over a year. So I said to myself, okay, after a year we'll do the thing, and but it's over a year. You can see that she's still, I'm not saying grieving, but she's still rebuilding her life.
It took me 5 years. In the 5th year after my husband died, everybody has moved on now. Everybody has forgotten that anything happened. And everybody's assuming that
they've seen you, they've seen you, that you look okay.
I thought I was losing my mind. I remember this is my same friend that I called on the day. In the end, I wrote her an email because I couldn't face her face to face because it was almost like being vulnerable, telling them how I was feeling. So I wrote her a detailed email about everything that I was feeling. I told her, I said, sometimes I see couples and I'm jealous of them Like, I didn't ask for much. I just wanted to be happily married. That's all. Well, why couldn't I just have that? And one day I was in my office and
Yeah, I
somebody
remember my
brought
mom said to me, I think about him every day.
every day.
She said, not every, she said every single moment of every day, she thinks about him.
I
So
can imagine. I was only with my husband for how many years? Maybe we courted for about 2 years. Let's say altogether about 8 years. And up to now, I can tell you every step that happened that day. Let alone talk about somebody that was married for 50 years. Can you imagine?
It is something. Yeah. So what you're giving to them is that benefit, the benefit of the experience.
Yes.
The benefit of having been through it, because it's
totally,
different.
Oh, it's very
coming
different
from
when
somebody
that hasn't experienced it is telling you everything's going to be all right. In your mind, they're saying, yeah, that's what you think. You don't understand. Yeah. But if somebody that has been through it is telling you, I'm assuring them, I'm promising them that honestly, I know how you feel. I know how it is to go to bed and you be alone in the bed. No more pillow talk. No more, your confidence has gone. You are now making big decisions for yourself and your children by yourself. Nobody to discuss it with. Nobody to discuss your hopes and aspirations with. Your fears, It's a lonely walk. And it takes getting used to, and it takes determination to pull yourself out of the rut. Otherwise, it could be a horrible experience.
I think that's probably talking about it from the faith side now, and specifically the Christian faith side. I think that's probably one of the reasons why widows and ministry to widows is very important. It's like close to God's heart.
Yeah, and it's not common. It's far and in between. I suppose because maybe they're not a lot of widows, but there's some churches that there are a lot of widows in. And I don't know if there's...
But they're always widows. They're always widows. I mean, apart from, maybe a young widow from one tragedy or the other, there's always widows, the older widows as well. The elderly ones that have, there's still, I don't know why I started talking about my mom, because so many things just keep coming to my mind. My mom is a very strong woman. When my dad died, she didn't cry. So the kind of the conversations I'll have with her when I call her on the phone, 2 months later, Mommy, have you cried yet? She'll start laughing. She'll start laughing at me. 6 months later, have you cried yet? I cried a little, but I'm like, so me, I've not cried much. I'm like, I feel as if I should wail and roll on the ground and all those kind, Now, 1.5 years later, my mom broke down and cried and cried and cried and asked me what she cried about. She cried because the children and grandchildren got together and put solar power in her house. And she cried and cried and cried. And I'm like, when your husband died, you cried. Now you're coming to come and be cried, or but I mean that's just
the floodgates
kind of like
opened.
yes,
and I think it's healthy to let it out.
Yes, it is, and I'm thinking that's that thing of supporting somebody in a way that is not just saying, oh, here is food to eat, or here is money, or whatever, but knowing that, okay, there's somebody there that wants to make sure that you're okay, which is what I see you doing with the widow's walk.
Yeah.
So what next? Because it seems like you've been doing this, but it's like you're just starting as well.
So what I want to do next is, because all this time I've just been doing it by myself. I've got a few friends that I call my trustees, but I've never registered the charity, which is what I want to do next. So my target for 2026 is to get it registered and to try and reach, they say charity begins at home. I'm thinking, even in my local community, I'm sure there are widows about that need help. Before I start treating the ones far off, let's try and meet with people in my locality who is a widow, who is on their own, that lives down the road,
Yeah.
So, and I always tell God, because I can't pray that widows become available. I don't want to pray that anybody's husband
No,
dies,
no, no, you don't want to. No, you don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want that. But I
No,
do
that's
pray
not
that
it.
any widow that needs my help, God should just bring them my way somehow. Direct me to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or,
Direct me to them.
find a way, maybe find one or two organizations that can signpost them to you. Like, I
Yeah. So
mean,
what I
if somebody is
in my
going to
bid to
the
want
food
to
bank,
yes. In my bid to want to register, I started looking at the local churches in my area. I'm from a Pentecostal background, but I'm so happy to go into an Anglican church or to go into the Catholic church. I thought once I'm registered and I'm all official, I'll make
yeah.
little cards and take them to the churches and put them around and let
Mm.
people know that I'm around. There's somebody around
Yeah.
if you need any
Yeah.
kind of help, even if it's just someone to talk to. Because sometimes I remember when I was going through, like I said, in the 5th year, I wanted to talk to somebody that I didn't know, somebody that I felt wouldn't judge me, or even if they judged me, I didn't care because, I didn't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
know
Because,
them.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So something like that. I was at work one day and I saw a leaflet of EDF Energy. And on the leaflet, there was a picture of a mother, a father, and 2 children sitting on a couch. This was maybe like 4, 5 years after my husband. I saw it and I broke down and I just cried in the office. But I just cried. Like this was what I wanted. This should have been a picture of me. And that was taken away from me. Um, I remember choosing schools for the children when they were going to secondary school, when they were going to university. Luckily, God had always sent people my way to help me out.
To
But
come
those
and
were
be
decisions that I had
that.
to make by myself. And it was hard.
So, your faith is very strong in this. Is a very big part of your story. How would you reconcile that loss? And would it make you angry at
Yeah.
God
Everybody told
or
me then that, oh, you're very strong because I dared not, that question of God,
say,
why did
oh,
you let it
why
happen?
me?
I didn't even go there. I didn't even go there. And in not going there, almost from day one, God kept on sending me his word. Yeah. I picked up my husband's Bible like 3, 4 days after he died. And in Isaiah 54, he wrote my name in the column. And if you read Isaiah 54, it was like God was speaking to the widow. From that day to now, it's still my anchor scripture,
Oh, please, I need
talks
Isaiah
about my
54.
children
Please,
being
yeah,
taught by the Lord, great being their
this shall be
peace.
their
Talked about
peace.
not being afraid. He talked about so many things. He talked about the reproach of your widowhood being wiped away. Talked about how God, he just closed his eyes for a little second, but with everlasting love, he will, so much of that scripture. And my name was written in pencil in the margins of that.
By
I
your
mean,
husband.
yeah, by my husband.
That
I mean,
is
one
an
day, a
amazing
few days
story.
after he died, I was in bed and I woke up on a Saturday morning panicking, thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to bring up my son on my own? I mean, I was brought up in a nuclear family. I left home when I was 24 and I had mommy and daddy. Now I have to bring up
Mm.
my kids by myself, my boy by myself. And in the midst of the panic, my phone rang and I was going to ignore it, but something to just pick it up. And it was my brother. And he said, are you okay? I said, I'm not okay. I said, I'm really scared. How am I going to bring up my son by myself? And then he told me this story. A few years ago, the men's ministry in my church went for a retreat. My husband went, my brother went. And he said that my husband told the whole group, because his dad died when he was young as well, that from a very early age, he took God to be his daddy. This is my husband told the group. And so my brother said to me that if God was his daddy, when he grew up, was he not okay? Was he a good guy or not? I said, yeah, he's a good guy. He said, yeah, don't worry, your son will be a good guy as well. Your son will be all right. And that was the word I needed at that moment. That just calmed all the jitters. So what I'm saying is that my faith held me up. I've been a Christian for a long time before it happened. So so I was mature enough to know that the thoughts of God towards me are thoughts of peace. I had the faith to know that whatever God wants for me is for my good. He's not going to do me evil. If he took Tupper away at that time, so be it. I know he's in heaven, So,
And
yeah.
I mean, that's interesting because the thing about this kind of thing is nothing is wasted. No experience is wasted. Even when something seems to be going in the wrong direction. I mean, speaking of what the word of God, all things work together. So your pain, and your pain and your understanding now is what is going to be what brings somebody
Other
out
people
of
some peace.
yes, yes, somebody out of something. I cannot remember. You mentioned that you know one of our guests,
Yes,
Kemi.
Kemi.
Yes,
Kemi, yeah.
yes, Kemi from House of Wales. There's something that she said which has skipped my mind, but I'll write it in the description of this thing. But basically, she said, yes, she said something about you're saying yes to God. The pain of you saying yes to God might be anchor that somebody needs to hold on to. This is me paraphrasing.
Yes, understand,
So yes, you using your pain to create something that people can say, okay, I'm going to walk. I can walk with you. And it's interesting. What I'll say to you from me personally is I think more your stories than your gifts, more your stories, those stories of encouragement, and would probably be what really powers
I mean, someone said to me
work.
when it was 20 years that my husband had died, which was 2 years ago, I think. A lady came up to me whose husband had just died 6 years, and she hugged me. She said to me, I'm going to be like you. I'm going to be strong like you. That I know she was telling me that her journey has just begun, but by the time she's 20 years, she's going to be just like you. And I thought, oh, you'll be better than me. But it was good to see that she could see herself now being okay.
Yes.
Because I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's when tragedy strikes, there's it's really as if it wants to just come and just cut off everything.
Yeah.
And it's not just a platitude to say that, yes, people are going to be okay. Two things I would like you to do for me or for our audience. One, if you to just say some final words to anybody who is not just somebody that is a widow, but obviously to a word to the widows, also a word to people who are around widows or whoever has the opportunity to support a widow or respond to a widow. So somebody who has either lost somebody or somebody in their church is a widow or whatever. And then after that, you can tell people how to find you, support you, and help you to support your widows.
Okay. So I would say every widow's journey is quite different and we all grieve in different ways. So I think if you're supporting a widow, you take your cue from them. You be with them for as much as they need you to be. If they want to be quiet and want to be left alone, then don't abandon them, but give them the space. When I was going through it, people wanted to take my kids away from me. They wanted, in their bid to help me, they wanted to take the children to their
Give her a
house for a
break.
weekend or anything. And more than anything, I wanted those children with me. Yeah.
That's probably the kind of thing that I would want to. So let me just take your kids away, give you a
I mean, they
break,
did it out
give
of
you a
love,
breather.
but
Yes,
I wanted
that kind
them.
of thing.
Yeah. So be sensitive to what the widow wants. Listen, listen to her small voice. She may not say it out loud. Be sensitive, whatever they need. If you're going to support somebody, you want to support them with what they need. So if they need a shoulder to cry on, be there. If they're wailing and very cross with life, don't berate them for it. Let them get it out. Walk the journey with them as far as they need you to go with them. That's what I'll say. If there's a widow in your church, don't just greet them on Sunday. Get in touch with them during the week. Send a text message. I'm thinking about you. Can I help you with anything? It goes a long way to think, because
that's a big
what
one,
normally
when
happens,
you say, do you need anything?
Yeah, do you need anything? What can I do? Because at the end of the day, when everybody goes to their separate homes and then your widow goes to her own empty house or the house where she's struggling with just she and her children, she feels like she's on her own. She needs to know that someone cares. She needs to know that, it's not the end of the world, but she would need encouragement to get there.
So let's talk about the Widow's Walk. I like the name, and then of course, how our listeners and can support you, or would you call it join you, because it's a walk. So
It
are
is a
we
walk.
joining you? Are we joining you to walk, or are we helping the widows to walk, or what? Tell us how to find you and how to support you.
Okay, so at the moment, I have a web page that is called taratalabi.co.uk. On that web, well, it's a few pages. One of the pages is the Widow's Walk. So it tells you all about the Widow's Walk. There will shortly be a QR code on that page, which can help you to donate financially towards the work. Shortly, I'm going to work with you, Eme, to build supporters.
Your community, yeah,
to
your
build
community
a community.
of
Yes,
people who
yes.
are helping
So
your
all these are
videos.
my 2026 projects. But in the meantime, if you go on to taratalabi.co.uk, you will see all about us there.
Okay,
You can
I'll
send me a
put that
message through
also.
that page, and then and then that's how to reach me.
I'll put that also on the description. So just look
Okay.
on the description, you'll see the website address
Yeah.
and any other thing. In this conversation, I've tried my best to just be professional, because I don't know, we just met, and I just feel like gisting with you. But I'm like, well, the podcast, we need to do podcasty things and all that. But yeah, it's been so great to meet you, and I really think that we would probably like to have you here some other time, because when you talk about your widows, there's so many aspects that you've touched on briefly about keeping the faith, and about just mental health and all the different aspects that you can
well-being.
Yeah, exactly. Where you support not just widows, but widows. I mean, people who are in that space. I remember when my dad died. And this is not about my dad, but when my dad died, the first people that called me, I would say probably the first dozen phone calls that I had were all from people who had lost their dad.
Oh yeah.
All the calls were from people who had lost their dad.
Yeah.
I knew them, but in fact, I was almost like apologizing to them, like, oh, I wish I had known how it feels. I wouldn't have, just send you one platitude message. And I think that's what we need to learn more about, because it's one of those things where when it's too painful to deal with, we now want to stay away, which doesn't really help.
Yeah.
And so I would really love to have you back on the podcast, probably maybe when your charity is fully
up
formed.
and yeah.
Yeah, then it would be great
Once
to
we're
have
registered
you
and we're good to go, we'll come back.
back. All right, then. Thank you so much, Tara. You can find Tara, taratalabi.com.
.co? No, .co.uk.
UK, taratalabi.co.uk. We'll stop there for now. So thank you very much, and thank you for joining us, Tara.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right then.
All right then. Good night. Bye.